Great, we are live. Welcome everybody to our video vitamin interview. I hope everyone can hear myself okay. If the audio goes out at any time or the video is frozen, please let us know in the chat. We might not see it on our screen, but you might see it on your end. So that will be really helpful just to, keep us rolling. So I want to introduce my guest for today, who has agreed to be on this video vitamin series. So let me just go ahead and read a little bit about her. This is Amelia's bio. So Amelia Aeon Karris has been a wayseer and trendsetter throughout her career, spanning technology, fashion, entertainment, intentional community design, and spirituality. In 1994, she co-founded one of the world's first web design companies before the public had even heard of email. What began as introducing people to cutting-edge digital and virtual realities has evolved into awakening people to their multidimensional natures. Amelia received a BA in consciousness healing and ecology and has apprenticed in numerous mystery schools. Her powerful healing abilities and clear vision were forged during a series of spiritual initiations over a 9-year period that honed her multisensory awareness and unique voice. Her extensive past life recall was noted in India, first placing her on national TV and later addressing live audiences of as many as 60,000 spiritual seekers. Over the last decade, through public speaking, teaching, and private counseling, Amelia has helped thousands of people to liberate their minds, navigate expanding realities, and live out their divine destinies. Her mission is to wake up humanity's sleeping potential, protect psychic children, and traverse our present shifts in consciousness, massive shifts in consciousness. Amelia Aeon Karris is the founding director of Know the Self, a mystery school for modern-day living, in which she guides truth seekers to access their innate wisdom. She has helped thousands worldwide to liberate their minds, navigate expanding realities, establish sustainable lifestyles, and live out their divine destinies. Her website is knowtheself.com. So a little bit about this video vitamin series briefly, and then we'll get right into the interview. This video vitamin series provides practical advice to socially conscious entrepreneurs about marketing, wealth building, and other types of business advice. So the idea is to really dive in deep with one expert on a topic so that as a socially conscious entrepreneur, you can go out there, you can serve the world, and you can have practical advice that you glean from these interviews that can be applied right away, very actionable advice. So welcome to the video vitamin series, Amelia. How are you?
Thanks, Sarah. I'm great. I feel blessed today. It's a beautiful day.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I want to talk about a lot of questions have come up after reading your book. You recently wrote a book on synchronicity. And we titled the talk for our session today, How to Find Your True Calling. And so I'd love for you to give us some information about the topic of synchronicity and what you talk about in your book, the 7 keys of synchronicity. So we can dive into this topic and help people understand how synchronicity and following these keys to synchronicity will help people find their true calling, whether that's in business, a career change, it could be, a change within their company, or it could be a complete life change. Whatever people get out of it, that is yet to be determined, but this information essentially is for everyone. So let's go ahead and dive into the first question. So I really enjoyed reading your book. And I just think there's so much great advice there. So let me just go ahead and read what you refer to as the keys to unlock synchronicity. Number 1 is tend your inner garden. Number 2, get honest with yourself. Number 3, slow down to speed up. Number 4, find your balance. Number 5, magnetize your soul group. Number 6, be happy for no reason. And number 7, walking the path of healing. So first of all, I would love for you to share with people, what is your definition of synchronicity?
Synchronicity is that experience that is very personal. It's your personal telephone line to the divine, to the unseen hand. And it's really hard to explain synchronicity to someone else because it's that meaningful experience that only really makes sense to you and your own inner seeking or inner guidance that you're receiving. So synchronicity is like when things happen in a line that just magically unfold, and it's when you get a sense of pure magic in this materialistic plane of random sequences linking up. You might feel highly telepathic, or it's like breadcrumbs, spirits sending you breadcrumbs to have you follow this beautiful tapestry. I call it like the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road, because the more you attune to your spiritual nature, the more the synchronistic events pave that road for you, and it just opens up like magic.
Wow. Yeah, I love the analogy. You have several analogies in the book about, the golden lattice work and the golden thread, working with this golden thread to weave together all these parts of our lives.
Yeah.
So what was it that inspired you, out of curiosity, to write this book?
Oh, that's a great question. I was actually working on a different book, more autobiographical, and some of the same content was in there, but it was from a very different angle. And I kept getting people calling me, clients, students, friends, talking about synchronicity all the time. Like, what does this mean? What does that mean? This just happened and I don't know what to make sense. And they were all in this state of wow and wonder and overwhelm. And I realized that not everybody lives the same way I do. And they really needed to learn how to ground synchronicity so it wasn't a frightening experience or it wasn't an overwhelming experience, but more using it as a guidepost. And I guess a lot of people realized that I live like that all the time. And so they would be asking, and I just sensed that they really need to know about synchronicity more than anything else. So instead of sharing my stories of synchronicity, I felt it was more important to show people, to explain how you tune to it. Like, what are the steps that will get more? Because that was what I could hear underlying the wow in their experiences was either how do I make sense of it? How do I keep it going? Because it was so exciting.
Yeah.
And it was overwhelming. Like, some people were kind of like, make it stop. I'm on this magical merry-go-round that is kind of overwhelming me. So I wanted to address those points because it was coming in very synchronistically to my world's view during the few weeks that I was sitting down to actually write. So I actually scrapped the book I was working on and started writing a new book on synchronicity. So
it was a synchronous series of events that got you to write the book.
So I realized, oh, that's the title. I mean, there's so much synchronicity happening that it was saying, this is what you need to talk about.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I think that when I first read the title, I thought that it's interesting to learn about it. But it wasn't until I dived into reading that I realized just how much practical advice that there can be applied to synchronicity. I didn't actually think of it as something that could, as you say, unlock our divine destiny. And yeah, there's just so much to glean from your book. We'll dive into how people can receive a copy of your book. I'd love for you to share that at the end, and let them know how you can work with them. So everyone, stick around to get that information. But let's talk now about uncovering these keys. So you talk about these 7 keys, and you say that there's a complex science to them. And you say that we don't actually have to understand the science behind these keys, but we do need to put these keys into practice. Now, what I'm wondering is, do we need to practice all of these 7 keys simultaneously? Or what if we just practice some of these keys? Will we still experience synchronicity?
Yeah, and you might experience synchronicity without any of the keys. So synchronicity is not dependent on it. These keys are to stabilize your field and to help you find your own self-mastery and your inner guidance system, to establish an inner guidance system that is unwavering. So you really understand yourself as a spiritual being having a human experience. So it's helping you make sense of synchronicity from the perspective of spirit. And that's more the scientific perspective, if you think of quantum physics and what we're made of and our morphogenetic field around our body and where all this information comes from, and how these instances that are seemingly disconnected are actually completely connected, and how they all form in a cascading effect. If you're able to see, like a scientist would, the actual field, it makes perfect sense of the orchestration of what's happening. But for someone who is not a scientist and just wants to experience synchronicity without the mechanics, they're still going to interact with that. So I wanted to simplify it. For me, my vision is open to see the mechanics. So when people tell me about synchronicity, it's not surprising. Sometimes there's a chill, like, wow, that was really cool, or that's impressive. But there's also understanding how it works and what your energy field is doing makes all of it kind of become, just like it would feel to an electrician who wires up the house and turns the light switch on. It's not magic anymore. It's science. So I wanted to simplify it so that people could start tuning their inner system and awakening the heart center and our true presence and vibrational field. And when you start to know yourself deeply on this spiritual level, you can interact with this sense of awe and magic from a very grounded place. So it's not something that bewilders you or makes you afraid, but actually becomes your connection to that source of life, of why you were incarnated at this time. What are you doing here? What is your purpose for being alive at this moment? And I really feel that people are so lost and confused and really suffering in the illusion of our life. And when we wake up to the true reality and pull those veils off, we experience a completely new reality that's very beautiful, but our minds can't fully comprehend it. So we need to be seated in a very grounded place inside ourselves to be able to unlock those keys without feeling crazy or mad or chaotic. So you have to tune. And the keys are really given for you to start tuning. But if there was just one key that I would suggest, it's vertical alignment. And you'll find that in the slow down to speed up, key number 3, really practicing a deep heart-based meditation of activating the light in the center of your chest. And I give those for free almost every week. So anyone who's curious can join me in a live synchronicity attunement. And it's really just waking up to your beingness. Like, who are you vibrationally? How do you hold vibration in your body? How do you see yourself as a vertical axis being versus this, horizontal plane of push-pull dynamics that, we're constantly being called towards the things that we want and averting the things we don't want. And in this dynamic, we're very off balance. And when we come into the center, we have a different perspective, a different control panel of what we're dealing with. And it's my mission and goal to bring as many people back to center as possible so that we can actually do what we came here to do.
And it's a powerful practice. I joined one of your attunement calls, and it's just so practical and just such a straightforward way to really get in alignment, with ourselves, but also just with the outside world. I mean, the visualization, it's not a difficult visualization. I've been doing meditation for many years, and I just found that, the grounding practice, it's interesting how you can practice meditation, but sometimes actually forget to do that, to do it in a very straightforward way. So yeah, I found it was very beneficial. I would encourage everyone to sign up for one of her attunement calls to experience that. Even if you have been doing meditation, if you have a regular meditation practice, I still think that you will find this to be a practice that you could just do, wherever you are, because we all get off balance at certain times, and it's just a very simple practice to get back to experiencing.
Yeah, and I do want to say something about that, because that's a big question. I used to call my classes meditation or guided meditation, and people who were deep meditators, been meditating 20 years, many of them told me that's not meditation. Like, I don't know what's going on, but that, blew my mind. That was something like ayahuasca or some other, I went on a journey, and it was so exciting for me to see experienced meditators be able to understand the difference of what I'm doing. And what I'm here to bring forth is an activation. Meditation is often thought of calming the mind, finding balance within the self, or mostly within the mind. And often it's to focus on the third eye. And what I'm here to promote is that those practices are absolutely incredible and useful and beneficial for many, many reasons. But for activating your true self and your divine gifts, and for awakening into your multi-dimensional nature, we need to center in the heart and activate our soul center. And so it's a different kind of knowing. Like, I really want people to be so clear about their internal guidance, like a yes and no, about discernment. There's so much illusion and deceit and trickery in this third dimensional plane. Like, we don't know who to believe. We've all become rebels. We hate teachers. We hate authority. We rebel against all of these things because we have to find our internal guidance to know, to really get clear. And that's what we're doing in this vertical alignment. It's creating dominion of your life and of yourself. So you don't have to go outside yourself to get a yes or a no, or to get counseling. I mean, you still will have mentors and elders and people that you interact with for guidance, but the absolute authority lies within yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a different goal. than meditation.
Great, great. Awesome. Well, you also recommend doing this practice for 21 days. Is that just to exercise the muscle to get familiar with the practice, or why is it 21 days?
Well, 21 days has been kind of scientifically proven to like instill a new pattern. And I find that when you do something consistently without breaking for 21 days, your muscle memory gets very strong, and you will see a difference, a very significant difference if you do this practice, even if you just do it for 5 or 10 minutes a day for 21 days. We're not talking about hours of meditation. We're talking about getting into alignment, or anything that you want to change in your life or activate in your life, whatever it is. I mean, if you do something consistently for 21 days, then you will know the difference between before and after. And then you can choose if you want to go for another 21 days, or your muscles get stronger. It's a muscle memory.
Wonderful. Okay. So we have the tool of vertical alignment, a wonderful way for people to get started. Now, one of the other really important pieces you talk about is imagination. And you say that imagination is our most important asset. Why is imagination so important?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. Imagination is the screen on which spirit communicates with us. So if we look back at every invention in life, everything that's come to be created, there was a spark that ignited that. It had to be a thought before it became a sound, before it became a action. And our imagination has been stolen from us since childhood. We've been conditioned away from it. As kids, when we imagine beings that, the imaginary beings, or when we have a wild imagination, it's sort of conditioned to be this false reality. But our multidimensional nature is projected through that same thing that we call imagination. And people get very confused when they start opening up to their higher senses and wonder, like, am I just imagining it? Well, what is imagination? Like, let's talk about that for a moment. So there's visualization, where we conjure, like I ask you to see the central sun, for example, and you imagine the central sun. But what happens between the feeling state, or how that source of life starts to communicate with you, we would call that the imagination. And that's where all of this incredible magic and wonder and information starts downloading. And so one of my teachers told me in meditation, like, whatever you see in meditation, trust it as absolute truth. And that was really hard for me, because when I would meditate, I would see a lot. And I thought, wow, I have a really wild imagination. I'm traveling to this star system. I'm over there. I've just talked to this deceased person who told me this, like, what's happening? I can't control it. But I started to learn over time that I could get confirmation for a lot of that information, and it was absolutely true. And it's important when we're learning our spiritual gifts that we journal about these things and start to take them as truth, or at least honor them as a gift of vision, rather than just immediately doubt it or put it aside, because that's disowning our power. And the more that we doubt and say negative things to ourselves, like, oh, that was just my imagination. Or when synchronicity happens, a lot of people are like, wow, I think I just imagined that I saw all these numbers that I was just thinking, and then I saw the sign, and it can start to get very heady, and we've been conditioned to process in our mind. And to really, like, analyze, and everything has to go through this filter. But I would just invite you to start to honor your imagination and see what happens. And as we know, every great creative person on the planet, an artist, a poet, a musician, they have great imaginations and they create great works of art. And in the same way, it is the channel and the tool in which we need to cultivate in order to open to our higher senses.
And from what I understand in the book, yeah, thank you for all that information. I think that that is not something that normally, if you're thinking about, you know, how can I find out my true calling? How can I lead a better life? How can I get in touch with what I'm really supposed to be doing in this life? We don't normally think of using our imagination. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand in the book, you were talking about how exercising our imagination gets us in touch with our intuition. Can you talk a little bit more about that? How accessing our intuition is going to help us along this path to finding our true calling?
Yeah, absolutely. The intuition is one of our most important assets. It's that gut sense, that instinctual sense that knows things that often can't be proven right up front. But when we attune to our intuition and really listen, and I think everyone listening or those who might be watching the recording are probably have had a moment where they didn't listen to their intuition and kind of found out the hard way, like, wow, I knew I shouldn't have turned right and I turned right and I got in an accident, or I knew I should not have gone to this event and I went and something terrible happened. You know, we have an inner guidance system. And for those of us who have fine-tuned it and listened to, the more we listen to it, the stronger it gets. So the more we listen and acknowledge it, our senses get very, very strong very quickly. So really honoring that gut sense, that instinctual sense, will bring you into your self-mastery and hone your guidance. I feel like I forgot your question, and I kind of went off on a little tangent there, but feel free to
fine
again. Yeah,
I think it might be just a question that people can really just dive into and read specifically in the book. But if there's just a brief way to tell people, how does the imagination, exercising our imagination, I just find that fascinating. Like I never put that together, between imagination and intuition.
Yeah. So, okay, here's an example. So say you're in a really quiet place, or you're walking the park by yourself, and you all of a sudden imagine that your mother is feeling sad or depressed and unwell, and you think, why would I be feeling that right now? I'm looking at the ducks on the lake or something. But then you just decide, like, okay, well, I'll call and check in. And then you come to find out maybe she was having a hard day or something like that. Mm-hmm. So when if I would have discounted that imaginary feeling of something's wrong with my mother or something's unwell, I might not have acted on it. So your intuition comes like imagination in the same screen. Mm-hmm. In the same way, you can be in a room and see strangers and look at someone, and you might start to feel like, wow, they've had a horrible day. They look so sad. I wonder if they're okay. And you might have a whole story going about that person without trying. It'll just start rolling like a movie screen. I would say trust that more than not, and act on that more than not going and telling someone like, oh, I'm having this whole vision, but just acting as if it was true and see what happens. Mm-hmm. Your intuition will grow, and you'll get more confirmation about those kind of hits and reality. It'll start to tune these gifts. We all have these gifts. It's not just some of us are psychic. We all have the ability to be fully present and aware and telepathic and intuitive and empathic. to varying degrees. Some of our gifts are stronger than others. Some of our senses, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. All right. So let's talk about the 4 developmental stages of self-mastery. You talked about self-mastery being important in unlocking synchronicity. And you say that the 4 stages are the student, the apprentice, the adept, and the mentor. Now, as we read in your bio, you've gone through a number of career changes. I have them written down here. You ran a web design company, you were a fashion photographer, you ran a magazine, you consulted on artificial intelligence, you were a farm manager in India and led programs on spiritual farming. All of this is detailed in the book. And you say specifically, none of my life has been planned, not by me anyway. Whenever I have made a plan, it felt like the universe laughed in my face and catapulted me in the opposite direction. So can you talk about how has synchronicity guided you through all of these career changes?
Yeah, okay, so self-mastery and the career changes are kind of, they're not separate, but I'll talk about them a little bit separately.
Okay.
The career changes, so I wasn't formally educated. I didn't follow a formula of education that a lot of people follow. I didn't have a lot of guidance from my parents, or there wasn't any sort of set rule, like I need to finish high school and go to college and get married and do that, which I know a lot of people have, and that conditioning is very heavy. I was a total free spirit. I had full ability to sort of design my own life, and didn't have any mentors or guides to kind of help me figure out life. So what I did have was synchronicity and my relationship with spirit. And so it put me, I went to community college after high school. I didn't take high school very seriously. Nobody pushed me to get good grades. I thought it was kind of a waste of time. It didn't really make sense to my spiritual makeup, high school. And it wasn't a very fun place. And so community college was different. And I was like, oh, I could study film. I could study photography. Like, what lights me up? And I took a career assessment course to find some guidance. And they're like, oh, you could be a travel agent or a sports coach. And I was like, wow, those don't make much money. And I don't want to do that, And when I was young, people would ask, like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was very clear at 6 years old that what I was going to be was me. And it hadn't been designed yet because I hadn't grown up yet. And that has become true. Like, every career I've had, I've been sort of a pioneer in that field. There hasn't been other people doing it much before me at all. At least I hadn't met them. And so all of those choices and paths that opened to me were literally golden opportunity doors of being in the right place at the right time, following my passion, following what lit me up. And none of it was traditional. So often I would be in very important business meetings with very established individuals, PhD people, all kinds of very, people who've risen up the ranks, and I would just plop in and be there at the table. And often they'd be like, how'd she get here and how she's here, but she's the expert. And every single one of my career shifts was divinely inspired. They were downloads given to me. Often I wouldn't even know how I knew what I was doing. I would just know that this is what needs to come through at the time. And I mean, the stories are so long and intricate. It's just literally quite a fantastic journey of how each one came to be. And so I don't think we have time for me to go into the details of that, but
yeah,
it's been fantastic. But the self-mastery piece, what I learned about my spiritual gifts waking up, and just like even my hard skills, like in doing business, or any gift, like if you're an athlete or a musician, you go through these levels of self-mastery. You can pretty much tell, like, if you're in a student level, you're just learning, you're not very good. When you're an apprentice, it's like someone has seen you, that you have a gift, and they're training your gift, and you've got a mentor helping you to fine-tune your gift. And then when you become an adept, you have risen to the level of professional or master. And as a mentor, you're then guiding the younger ones, right? And we see that in, very clearly when it's something like athletics or music or a skill set. But on the spiritual realm, there isn't anyone to measure that. And so as our spiritual gifts awaken, we need to come into pure, honest reflection with ourselves of where we're at with our gifts. So if intuition or telepathy or clairvoyance or being a spirit medium is something that starts to happen to you, the apprentice level is like, oh, I have this gift. It happens sometimes. I'm pretty accurate, but it's a little wonky. I don't totally trust it. I can't turn it off or on. It just happens when it happens. That's the apprentice phase. And the adept phase is when you know exactly how the mechanics work, and you can continually use that gift again and again with the same accuracy of results. And then obviously mentors, being able to help other people along on that path. So with each skill that arises, I use this levels of self-mastery in my mystery school to help people acknowledge and honor their gifts, and to find themselves, like, we're always in a state of learning, and these gifts aren't linear. It's not like we become an adept or a mentor and we stay there. I mean, there's dimensional shifts that happen. I mean, there's many times where I've really mastered a particular spiritual gift, and then something totally different happens, and I find myself again as a student of having to, like, wow, now whatever just opened has changed the entire playing field, and I need to learn once more. So it's more of a spiral, and we can get various levels with various skills. And this is what I guide my students through in the mystery school experience.
Wonderful. Wow. Wow. Yeah, just very useful to know where you're at, it seems. I like, that there's a definition of these 4 levels. I found that to be very useful. And also just to know that it's not linear, that we're going to keep going through these 4 cycles, or 4 levels in a cycle.
Yeah, and it's something for you to track, and it's also the community will help you know. Like, they'll tell you when you're ready to be an adept. They'll pull you forward.
Wonderful. Okay, well, let's see. I have one other question. This one, I'm sure will take a lot of time. It could take a lot of time to provide an answer, but we'll give it a try. I'll throw it out there. It's a question I think a lot of people are wondering, and it's, how do you deal with difficulties when you're unlocking these keys to synchronicity? We talk about some of the ways that you get unstuck. How, what are some tips that people could use today just in dealing with synchronicity and unlocking these keys?
It's interesting that your voice went through a digital thing now and feedback.
No, not really.
Okay.
Were you able to hear the question?
I am, but I think I'm gonna turn my speakers down. Okay, that's better. I'm not hearing it now. Okay. So your question was, how do we deal with difficulties? Thanks, yeah. Nina said you can hear it too. Yeah. Yeah, difficulties is when we are very challenged, and this is when the practices are most handy, specifically vertical alignment. And within vertical alignment, I talk about creating a boundary around your body that is wider than your outstretched arms, or at least as wide as your outstretched arms. And this boundary, which becomes a bubble, and you clear it of any external energy field, and call in your energy to the center of your being and vibrate from here. If you're able to do this, you'll be able to navigate the most crazy, challenging, chaotic experiences with ease and grace. Pathways will open for you. Solutions will pop in. We are in chaos when we're out of balance here. It doesn't mean the world's not chaotic. And the world is always going, this dimension is chaos. It is polarity. It's this push-pull dynamic constantly. Mm-hmm. What changes when we use these keys is that we're centered and we stay centered no matter what happens. So if we're feeling wobbly or challenged, sit down. I have a free 11-minute meditation you can download right off my website for some guidance into getting into that alignment, or join one of my attunement calls. But you can do it just by reading the book, and just calling in your vertical alignment, making sure you're fully grounded. And when you're in this place, all information is revealed, all the next steps is revealed. So sometimes we get so overwhelmed with 10 steps ahead. You know, we are a future-driven society, or we're so afraid about what happened before, and we have fear built up in our body. Right. And it's really important to stay in present time, because when we are in present time, we can choose clearly to move forward from a place of love and not fear. And so for those of you who don't know what these practices I'm talking about and are feeling, you know, in a challenge in this moment, I would say get really quiet, listen to your breath, and ask what's the most loving thing you can do for yourself for the next step, and do baby steps. Because sometimes life is just a total shit show. I mean, it is crazy out there, like chaos all around. And when you're training in your spiritual gifts, and if you've been awakened like I have, and these dimensions are ripping off and the veils are ripping fast, it feels like you're Dorothy inside a tornado and you just want to click your red heels and go home. So we need to learn how to find our breath. Our breath is our guide. It takes us home. Get down into your heart and connect to the earth and take one step and make that step towards love. And you're going to find your way out.
I love it. I love it. I love that this is advice for entrepreneurs. Of course, it's advice for everyone, but specifically, that's why I wanted to bring you on here, Amelia, because I just feel like as an entrepreneur, that is the definition of our life. It's just navigating chaos every day. Whereas, you know, if you show up in a 9-to-5, like, you know where your desk is, you pretty much know how the day is going to unfold, and you have meetings and all of that. But, you know, and we're constantly going through these 4 levels of self-mastery in terms of running a business too. So I think what you're doing, super important for everyone, of course, but I just think the more that entrepreneurs can get in touch with this vertical alignment and all of these tools that you're talking about, you know, what a difference it could make in the world. Having people
that's a really special topic for me. I've always been an entrepreneur, and I feel that when we awaken to who we truly are, we can listen to ourselves. Being a business owner is, I think, one of the most important things you can be doing to create change in your community, in the world, in your own life. You become the master of your own reality, and you get to design how that unfolds. And unfortunately, so many of us get trapped in the hustle of being an entrepreneur, which is not fun. And it feels like you're wearing every single hat, and you've got 1,000 skill sets, and maybe none of them are feeling like an adept, and you're feeling like you're having to learn how to be a CEO while you're having to be the content director and creator and producer and, all those things. When we can do vertical alignment, I mean, I use it in my business. I've always used it in my business of like, okay, I'm overwhelmed. There's so much to do, but what needs to happen right now? And sometimes it just takes 2 minutes, 5 minutes of deep breathing, clearing your space, getting clear. The first thing that comes to me is the priority list. Like, oh, well, 1, 2, 3 in this order.
Yeah.
And it really helps to simplify the chaos, because we can get caught up on how we need to rebuild our website and how we need to publish this and talk to that designer and all these subcontractors and people, it's madness. And having a personal practice is a key to really being that change you want to see in the world, bringing that vibration forward, bringing those gifts, those talents, whatever you're bringing to the, like, conscious entrepreneurship is a spiritual practice. And I think it's one of the biggest gifts you can be giving and providing at this time. It's really...
totally agree.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's definitely give people that info on where they can find you and, join in on your next attunement. But right now, if anyone out there has a question, you're welcome to call in. There should be a button right below our video image. There should be a call-in button. So feel free to jump in here, get your questions answered, or just say hello. That's the fun thing about Blab is, just having it be a group discussion. I don't know of any other websites that allow that. Well, there's Google Hangouts, but Google Hangouts can be a little clunky sometimes. So, yeah, anybody want to jump in? And if you don't see that call-in button, because I see just one. I just see one button here, but I just want to make sure Blab hasn't changed anything around. So if for some reason you don't see the call-in button, just let us know in the chat. And then if you have questions and you don't want to get on camera, of course, feel free to type your questions out. So
it'd be fun if someone wants to pop in that open seat.
Do you see the seat there, Amelia?
I see the seat. I don't see the button, but I remember when I joined there, it was pretty obvious.
Okay.
But yeah, don't be shy. Come say hi to us.
All right, here we go. So Nina.
Hi guys.
Hi Nina.
How are you guys?
Great.
That's awesome.
Where are you located, Nina?
I'm in San Francisco right now.
Great.
Yeah, so I've been enjoying this hour session. So I wanted to say thank you both for being here and creating this space for us to hear about synchronicity and tools to use in our daily life. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining in. Any questions you have for Amelia?
So I didn't have any questions, but I did want to say that the piece about imagination was kind of an unlocked door for me now. Before it was locked, and now I've unlocked it. And I appreciate it because, in general, whenever I have my imagination going, I tend to kind of discard it because I'm just like, oh, it's just my imagination again. Like, let me get to the real stuff. Like let me see what I really need to see, And so I should pay attention to it a little bit more. So I really appreciated that piece, and I wanted to call in and say thank you.
Very cool. Very cool.
So
nice. Thank you.
All right. Well, I will let someone else take the seat, but thank you guys. Nice interacting with you.
Great to meet you, Nina. Thanks for joining. All right. You can take a couple more questions if you're free to, are you able to hang out, Amelia, just for a couple more questions?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, it's always interesting with Blab because all of the live streams are on the homepage, but there's a lot going on that homepage. So, you know, people will be popping in and out of Blabs and, you know, discovering things that have been live, but they haven't been there since the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah, I've seen like people jump in and jump out while we were talking.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if there aren't any other questions, I think now would be a good opportunity just to share where people can get in touch with you and possibly get a copy of your book. So where can they go to find you?
Yeah, so my website is Know the Self, and that's KNOWTHESELF.com. And if you do /Synchronicity, you'll learn about the book. There's an email list there or a get in touch form. You can fill that out. You'll start to get information about my upcoming attunement calls, and you can send me an email or a message there, and I will send you the book. I'll be posting the July attunement calls in the next couple of days. So, and those are free for anyone, and you can come as many times as you want. It's really my community service to make sure as many people as possible know how to find vertical alignment and stay centered. And if my work resonates with you and you want to go into some sort of deeper understanding and work through the book, it's really a workbook. It's a practice book. It's not a novel. It's not something you want to sit down and read cover to cover because there's a lot of dense information that needs to be integrated. I take people on a 10-week journey called the Council of 12, where you learn what it's like to be in a council of peers practicing this work together and tuning into your own vibration and allowing your gifts to unlock so that you can walk the path of self-mastery. And I also help people once you're in that council, there's a lot of other ways to deepen in your practices. So if that's interesting, please sign up for a free attunement. And, you know, there's many people who join those calls who've been just doing the free attunements like 5, 6, 7 times, and they keep coming back, and it's absolutely fine. I welcome it. I encourage it. We need to tune ourselves right now. There's so much chaos and disturbance in this dimension, and we really need to remember why we came here at this time. We each have a very specific piece of this puzzle that needs to wake up and be given. So for all those entrepreneurs out there and people who feel that calling in their heart, you are needed. We need you right now to wake up and serve from the heart, serve boldly. And so I hope to see you and help you align and attune to that, which you already are, which is so beautiful. So
absolutely, absolutely. I hope everyone watching now does sign up for the attunement. You know, it really, really, really changed my day. I'll have to, you know, give my testimonial. I just was having a tough day. I got on that attunement, and it, you know, I don't want to sound like hyperbole, but it did feel miraculous. It was like, wow, you know.
A lot can happen in their 90 minutes. So a lot happens in the 90 minutes. And
yeah,
it's been pretty wild to have people from all over the world join in. And it's always a specific dynamic with who's there live. It's a different combination, the energies. And I don't record them. It is a live attunement. And, you know, I'm broadcasting an energetic frequency during the attunement, but to help you find the center. But many people are able to just find center on their first go. So, you know, I encourage you, if you haven't been a meditator or you are, it really doesn't matter what level you are. If you're feeling this, just get on the call. You're in a safe space, and you will know instantly if it's for you or not. It's
definitely. And on that same page, or when they sign up there, are they able to request a copy of your book, Synchronicity?
Yeah, on the page about the book, there's a little thing. I'll send it to you. Right now, it's not available on Amazon. It was. It's been pulled down for a short period. We're changing something up. But if you send me a message, I'll get you an ebook right away.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Yes. Well, I want to thank you so much, Amelia, for taking time out of your day and sharing your gifts. I just think there's so much wisdom that people can learn from you, and I personally look forward to learning more in the future. And I'm in total agreement that it is so important for us entrepreneurs or anyone who considers themselves a leader within their company just to get in alignment, to learn these tools of unlocking synchronicity, not only to lead a happier life, but to tame that chaos and start to make the world a more peaceful place. So thank you again, and I will definitely link up. I tried to put in the link here. You know, Blab is still in beta, so it's going to drop it right into the video recording here, but we'll have it on Facebook and on the YouTube description so people can get right over to your website. And for all of you who are new to the Video Vitamin, please feel free to join us on our next interview. We're still lining up future interviews, but you can find my website, Blue Lotus Films, films with an S, .net, and we're based in the San Francisco Bay Area. And we're also on Twitter at Blue Lotus Films. And for now, we'll be holding this Video Vitamin on Blab, so you can subscribe to the Blab profile here to get notified about future interviews. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope this information was helpful to you, and we look forward to being in touch with you in the near future. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you.
Have a great day, Amelia.
You too. It's a pleasure. Bye.
Bye.